So hello and welcome once again to my layout, New Junction. In this week's episode of Under Closer Inspection, we take a closer look at the new Bachmann TPE 350 and we find out if it is really desirable. And here we are on the layout, and as you can see, the 4-car unit is out on the layout in all its glory. And I have to say, the TPE livery is stunning. And it was a difficult choice actually with the 350 because you've got a choice of the TPE livery, you've got the London Northwestern livery, and then the Southwestern 450 as well, and they're all quite striking. But for me, it had to be the TPE version. So these units were announced in Bachmann's Spring 2025 announcements, so we've not had too long to wait, which is always nice as punters. They come in two versions. You've got DCC ready and DCC sound fitted. They do come with a slightly juicy RRP, full RRP I should add. The DC ready version is $469.95 and the DCC sound fitted version, brace yourself, is $569.95. Now, while you're all on the floor, me included, we do have to remember that this is a 4-car unit. So you've obviously got your locomotive and then relatively 3 coaches, but they're all high spec, things like that, yada, 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 all the R&D involved, etc. So you've always got to divide it by 4 and then remember that when it comes to manufacturing, there's not much in it for a factory when they quote between a nice coach, nice detailed coach as it were, with all the lighting and all the PCB functions and the motor car. So do take that on board when thinking about the price. So what you do find is Bachmann does have a tendency to price knowing that its retailers will deduct by 15%, which is the allowed margin to take off. So you will find these at DC ready at £399 and with sound £484, which is why I found it on Rails of Sheffield. So if you deduct the £100 for the ESU chip, which is usually a standard rate with these things, it's £384 for a 4-car unit. So really, it's not too bad when you start to put it into perspective like that, is it? May take a bit of saving, but you won't get another one, and it certainly is a fine unit. But seeing is believing. Let's take a closer look. So I've broken the unit into 2, just so we can get a nicer view of it. However, only the coaches that are connected to the central motor car will work, because that's where the PCB and the chip are. So the lights on the left-hand version will work, and the lighting on the right-hand side version as you're looking won't. Nothing wrong with it, it's just that's why. So we've mentioned pricing, and well, as you'd expect with a Bachmann model, you'd expect something for your money. So what do you get? Well, the model itself boasts things like a 5-pole motor and flywheel. I've got a feeling that's a single flywheel. You get twin axle drive, you get all-wheel pickup, and you get conducting couplings. So presumably that's wiring all-wheel pickup back to the PCB motor coach, as it were. So as you'd imagine, this unit is well run in now, and the only thing I've really noticed is absolutely no running quality issues. There are a few quirks which I'll go over shortly, but there's no stay alive on board, so you do get flickering lights. So definitely I would suggest looking into adding a stay alive straight away, particularly if you like to run with your lights on. Now, seeing as they've gone to so much trouble doing things like the cab lights, the illuminated destination boards, etc., the coach lighting, you would think that maybe they could have put in a stay alive, but they didn't, and it's not too difficult to put one in, although you will have to take the motor coach apart to be able to do that. So as you'd imagine, these units come with all the details you will require. So if we go through a handful now, so on the roofs, for example, you've got the air conditioning equipment, you've got various things like the insulators modelled, things like that. You've got separately fitted windscreen wipers. You've got illuminated destination boards in the cabs, or just above, as I mentioned. Then, of course, underneath, you've got things like the electrical boxes, the brake equipment, the auxiliary gear, the sand boxes, all nicely modelled as it should be. And then, of course, you've got your interior lighting, which means that the interiors are nicely done as well. And again, if you really wanted to go the extra mile, you could even take the bodies off and fill them with passengers, because with the interior lights, you'll be able to see them. So this is no doubt a question that a lot of you will ask, is how does it compare to the other TPE models on the market? Now, I think the colour rendition is different, and it's different in real life. However, I think if I was to call it, I'd say the livery is very nice on this one. It's very dark and luscious. The Hornby offering is quite bright and luminous. This is quite a luscious, it's got a very nice metallic sheen, where the Dapol 68 and the Accurascale Mark 5s, they're the lightest of them all. However, they do match each other, which is always a plus, because they're different companies, but they've got to go on the same train. But yeah, as you can see, you can't really go wrong. It's a very nice livery rendition. I think they've got it right. I think they've all got it quite right, to be honest, in their own way. But yeah, proof's in the pudding.
TPWS and AWS operational.
So sound-wise, it's always a difficult one with a EMU, because they sound, well, in this case, it sounds like a strimmer in next door's garden once it's running and up to speed. However, the performance of the sound file is all to do with departure and arrival, particularly with this loco. So that is very nicely done, very impressive. There's a couple of quirks, so things like the single horn is very nice, but then the double horn does sort of peak the speakers ever so slightly, but I'm sure that's all customizable with a lock programmer or CVs, etc., with a bit more research. However, as I said, the main performance here is dispatch and arrival at a station.
May I have your attention, please? Customers are reminded to mind the gap between the train and platform edge when boarding.
And there we go, Bachmann's 350 in TPE livery. So, what's the final verdict? What do I think, as a hobbyist, of the new unit? Well, it goes without saying the purchase of any unit across the board these days is going to be a very considered purchase, just because of the nature of your buying sort of 3 or 4 items of rolling stock, and you see it across the board with other multiple units elsewhere. It does just affect the price, and you get a sort of a big scary number. However, break it down, for the tech you get, the spec you get, it's not too bad. There are a couple of niggles. It would have been nice to see us stay alive, and that's just for my layout, so it probably worked fine on yours, but with my modular board, so every 4 foot on this layout, we've got a track join. You do get a bit of track flickering, although you don't get any issues really with the motor running. So yeah, just a tad flicker, and it just stands out, which is a shame because we've got all that nice lighting. So adding a stay alive to that is definitely on my recommended list. Another quirk I noticed is it says Manchester as a destination on both ends of the multiple unit. Now, I'm not quite sure if that's meant to be a thing or not, because I'm not involved with the project. However, if it is a mistake, then someone's obviously done one end and copied and pasted to do the other side. But again, from your 3 foot rule, you can't really see it anyway. So without sort of going downhill with this review at all, it is a very, very nice unit. Very considered, as we said, but a very, very nice unit. And if you really want one, you won't be disappointed. Now, the liveries are superb. They're very nice. They stand out a mile, as we saw. It stands up against the current TP offerings, and it's not the easiest livery in the world to get right. And yeah, I think you'll be well, you won't be hard pressed to find a better one, because it's take it or leave it job with the Bachmann 350/450. So if you want a EMU, that's the one for you. Right. Thank you as ever for watching. A big thank you to the channel patrons as ever. Do let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Is it too expensive? Is it reasonable once you break it down? Or are there elements to it that you think are excellent and superb? Do let me know down in the comments below. Now, next time I'm tempted to do my first rolling stock review with these Revolution Trains car carriers. Let me know again if you'd like to see those. Food for thought. Right, I'm waffling now, so I will say thank you as ever for watching. Do take care, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye for now.